What if I told you the most powerful weapon on Earth isn't a missile or an army, but a piece of paper? A single sheet covered in green ink, stamped with symbols, promises, and power. A sheet so ordinary you barely look at it, yet so influential it can tip the balance of world powers. What if every war, every crisis, every empire's rise and collapse over the last century was shaped by something you hold in your pocket right now? A dollar bill that carries more geopolitical weight than tanks, fleets, or generals. A silent force that doesn't roar, it whispers. And yet, nations listen. This is the story of how the US dollar stopped being just money and became a global instrument of control. A currency so dominant, nations obey it. A system so entrenched, countries fear it. A weapon so silent, most people don't even know they're under its shadow. Because the dollar isn't printed on paper. It's printed on power. Military power, economic power, political power, and psychological power. So here's the real question. How did the American dollar become the world's ultimate lever of power without firing a single shot? To understand the weapon, we have to go back to the moment the world cracked open. World War II. Cities burning, economy shattered, gold reserves drained dry. A world traumatized, a world desperate, a world searching for something, anything, that could restore order. Out of that chaos, the United States emerged with something no one else had: massive gold stockpiles, industrial dominance, and a currency trusted by almost every survivor of the war. The US held more than half of the world's manufacturing capacity. It controlled oceans, trade routes, and the post-war economy. Its factories were untouched. Its banking system was intact. Its political stability was unmatched. At Bretton Woods, the world made a deal. We'll tie our currencies to the dollar, and the dollar will tie itself to gold. Simple, stable, predictable. A financial anchor thrown into a sea of chaos. But that promise wouldn't last, because the moment the world depended on the dollar, the United States held the master key. And as with all keys, whoever holds it decides who gets through the door. Here's how the weapon really works. When countries trade oil, they need dollars. When they buy food, technology, medicines, they need dollars. When they borrow money from global markets, they need dollars. Every shipping container crossing an ocean, every barrel of oil pumped from the earth, every load of grain shipped across continents, all priced in dollars. This creates a strange, invisible dependency, like oxygen in the atmosphere, always there, rarely noticed, until it's gone. The dollar isn't just a currency, it's a universal permission slip, a license to exist in the global marketplace. And whoever controls the permission slip controls the game. Banks around the world use the SWIFT network, run largely by Western allies, to send money. Trade flows through American banks. Every major corporation holds dollar reserves. Central banks store their wealth in U.S. Treasury bonds. U.S. Treasury bonds become the safe haven for everyone's savings. Because when the world burns, money runs home, to America. And one rule rises above everything. A world that runs on dollars must play by American rules. If the U.S. approves, the money moves. If it doesn't, the world stops. And nations learned this the hard way. Then came the moment that shattered the illusion. Foreign governments started demanding their gold back. France, Britain, Switzerland. Countries that once believed in the gold promise suddenly wanted proof. They wanted their gold, not paper promises. But the US had spent too much, promised too much, printed too much. The war in Vietnam, the space race, global military bases, social programs, Cold War commitments. The gold wasn't enough. Nixon stepped on TV and told the world the U.S. will temporarily suspend the dollar's convertibility into gold. Temporarily. A word that aged like a bad joke. Overnight, the dollar lost its anchor, but instead of collapsing, it evolved. Oil-producing nations were convinced, some say pressured, into selling oil only in dollars. The petrodollar was born. A currency backed not by gold, but by oil, the lifeblood of the modern world. America didn't just control its own currency anymore. It controlled the lifeblood of global energy. Every country that needed oil needed dollars. If you want to drive cars, heat homes, power factories, fly planes, you need the U.S. currency. And from that point on, the dollar wasn't just money. It was a lever, a switch, a tool that could elevate an economy or suffocate one. And here's where the story gets darker. Countries that challenged the system, they found themselves cut off from global banking, frozen out of trade, unable to buy essentials, even food and medicine. Sanctions became the new siege warfare. But instead of walls and armies, the battlefield was bank accounts. Iran, Russia, Venezuela, North Korea. Each one felt the pressure of the dollar's grip. Foreign reserves seized, access to SWIFT blocked, assets turned to dust with a single keystroke. And it didn't end there. Entire economies shrank. Inflation exploded. Citizens paid the price. Not governments. Not a bomb dropped, not a soldier deployed. Just silence and economic collapse. This is power that doesn't march, it whispers. A power that can reorder global alliances, reshape economies, or topple governments without ever leaving Washington. But the story isn't finished, because now a new era is emerging. China pushes the yuan. BRICS nations look for alternatives. Digital currencies challenge old systems. Regional alliances test new financial tools. Countries stockpile gold again, like the world is preparing for the next monetary storm. Russia demands energy payments in rubles. Saudi Arabia hints at pricing oil in multiple currencies. India experiments with rupee-based trade. Africa explores a unified currency. Latin America debates de-dollarization. And for the first time in decades, the dollar's throne is starting to shake. Not collapse, not fall, but tremble. Because global power isn't static. It's a tide. It flows. It recedes. It reshapes the shores of history. And the dollar, for all its strength, is facing a world no longer comfortable with one nation holding the financial kill switch. Here's the truth most people never hear. The dollar became a weapon not because America planned it, but because the world let it happen. Dependence became power. Power became leverage. Leverage became control. And now as nations scramble to break free, one question hangs in the air like smoke. What happens when the world tries to disarm the very weapon it helped build? Does the global economy fracture? Do new alliances form? Do currencies compete or collide? Does chaos break the system? Or does the system break the world? Because the dollar is a paradox. It is both the glue holding the world together and the fuse that could blow it apart. So let me ask you this. Is the dollar humanity's stabilizer or its silent time bomb? Tell me what you think in the comments.